so awesome. It is so awesome to be sitting here with you. I consider you to be a priestess, poet, rapper, motivator, sexy badass, goddess mama.
I'll take all those things.
And it was interesting because when I was prepping for this interview, I usually have this sort of like ad hoc routine that I do, and I was being met with resistance, and I couldn't figure out why, and I was thinking, because you just don't fit into a pattern and into a mold, and it was like trying to stuff a square peg into a round hole. And I finally thought, you know what, the first time I heard you speak was this last fall in New York at Emerging Women, and you took the stage and you just went up there and you were raw, unscripted magic. And as my friend Jennifer Cass advised me, she said, you know what, just sit down and have a soul chat.
It's so much better that way.
This book, you just had me at...
I had you at the back cover.
You had me at the back cover.
Yeah.
How do you want to feel? How did this unfold for you? And was it a life event, or like where did this all come together for you?
New Year's Eve, long time ago now, doing goals, so-called goals. They were goals. And I had them all drawn out, and I had a baby at the time, and I looked at all my goals and I was like so uninspired and just bored. I was like, this is a boring life. And I didn't have a boring life,
right.
But I just like, this is not aspirational. And I just like grabbed a different colored pen and started writing words, and they were all feeling words. I wasn't even conscious of it at the time, but it was like earthy and conscious and sexy and connected and creative, you know? And then I put that away and I didn't think much of it. And it was really like this 7-year process of all those words this year. What if those feelings are my goals? And that turned into this little Post-it note that I kept in my day planner for 5 years, same 4 words.
Did you bring that Post-it note?
I don't have that Post-it note. No, I have other magic Post-it notes. That Post-it note changed everything. And it totally changed. It helped me loosen the grip on like that fierceness. I come to the conclusion, you must be fierce in pursuit of what you want, and you must be flexible. It's both. The answer for me is always usually both. And then in terms of a career, that was a multi-million-dollar Post-it note. Who knew? And it's working for people. It's really, I would say, it's uncorking people. And my favorite stories around the whole desire map, you know, the little phenomenon that is has to do with like permission. People are giving themselves permission to just even want to feel. Forget what the feeling is. Just like, oh my God, my feelings are the priority. Is it really that simple? Yep.
And can I do that? I'm allowed to do that?
You are allowed to do that. You are in charge of your life.
Right.
You are here for that reason. More than allowed. I think the cosmos is beckoning you.
Required.
Yeah.
So but it is really flipping it, you know, because we were sort of raised, you know, nose to the grindstone. You got to work hard. You got to save money. You got to have a pension plan, and then the feelings will come later. So this is really flipping it from, as you say, chasing the feeling, and as opposed to the outcome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what you're describing is all about earning.
Right.
You have to earn your freedom. You have to earn feeling good. You have to earn the rewards. And look, everybody knows. Maybe you don't live this way, but everybody knows on some level life is short. So really, you're going to spend your whole life earning. Why don't you just do the most immediate thing now for pleasure? You know, immediate gratification is totally underrated. I want to feel good now.
Yeah.
I want to feel good this hour in this experience. I want today to feel good.
Right.
Because today feeling good and me doing whatever it takes to feel good today really increases my chances of feeling good tomorrow and the next day and getting the stuff that I do want. I mean, I have material ambitions. There's things I want to do, have an experience. But you have to feel today the way you want the destination to feel.
Right.
So, I've seen so many people, and I was one of those people, where you think you can strive your way to arriving. Or you can fight your way to inner peace. This is my favorite. I'm steeped in a lot of practices and methodologies, but this is my favorite downfall of Buddhism. And I would consider myself an armchair Buddhist, is I am going to suffer my way. I'm going to endure my way to peace. And it's so punishing. All of it can be so punishing.
Right. I've got a bunch of your fabulous, juicy quotes. We have the procedures of achievement upside down. We go after the stuff we want to have and accomplish outside of ourselves. And we hope and pray that we'll feel great when we get there. It's backwards and it's burning us out.
It's burning us out. It's really hard on the adrenals. Yeah, it's really hard on the sex life. It's hard on parenting.
It's like putting everything on the side. And it really is, like you say, it's about permission. Mm-hmm. And just sort of, because we're not feeling good when we're not in that space of, I want to chase the feeling.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've even slipped in my own process of this. Process, by the way, is Canadian for process.
I know, we love that. We love that.
I remember I like to do my intention setting. The word intention works better for me than goals. Although, I'm totally down with goals. I'm not anti-goal setting. So I was doing my intention setting. I like to do it twice a year, kind of end of the year, Christmas, New Year's, and then in mid-year, my birthday time.
I was just going to say, birthdays are great.
Birthdays are great, and it's lucky I'm end of May. So, and I forgot to take my own medicine, so I was writing out my goals, this, out there, those numbers. And I could feel, I was starting to get that crease that, everyone's getting Botox for. Right there, the Klingon.
That Botox crease.
And my breathing was changing. I was like, these are the signs of stress. And I was like, core desired feelings. How do I want to feel? Right. I was already clear on my core desired feelings. Let's go back to those. So what am I going to do this year that's going to make me feel that way? And some of those goals stayed on the list, and some of them were right off the list. And the ones that stayed, my approach was going to be very different. It was about creating beauty instead of making $1 million.
Right.
And in my experience as an entrepreneur, you set out with that pure intention, the prosperity comes. And if it doesn't, because there's still lots of goals that I set that I don't hit. And if it doesn't, I'm good. Because every day I've done something to feel the way I want to feel. It was I'm feeling good along the way. So the juice is there. We didn't hit the goal. That's okay. We had a good time. Yeah.
It led to something else. It opened a door to something else.
Not always.
Define core desired feelings. Let's really just dig into that for a second so that we really convey that, because I think that's so important.
Mm-hmm. It's actually pretty simple and profound. So the essence of the whole desire mapping process is that you're going to go through every area of your life. I make it really simple. Here's 5 areas. If you don't even like what they're called, you can name them something else, livelihood and lifestyle, creativity, whatever. And you're going to do the stream of consciousness of how you want to feel in every area. And then you go through the process of elimination is not the best word, of discernment. It's about pattern recognition.
Right.
Because I guarantee you, how you want to feel in livelihood is the same way you want to feel in your body, is the same way you want to feel in relationships. The same way you want to feel when you get dressed is the same way you want to feel when you look at your bank account. So you can get that stream of consciousness, I want to feel blah, 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 all these different things. You can get that down to about 4 or 5 core desired feelings. And then the idea is...
So just ramble a couple feelings, what would you say?
Oh, well, I'll tell you, my core desired feelings are, I want beloved, I want golden, joy, and truth. And then every once in a while I have these little sidecar feelings that need to ride with me for a couple weeks. Right now I really like an extra hit of magic, right, or an extra hit of space. But those core desired feelings, and here's an important distinction, is they're not like the fleeting emotions. You know, we feel 900 emotions in a day. That's not a scientific number. I'm making that up. And
Sounds good to me.
They are core. They have probably that desire to feel that way has probably been with you for a long time. Some of my core desired feelings, I know were there when I was a girl. And they are driving everything you do, positively or negatively, however you go after them. What you eat, who you hang out with, where you're working. You are wanting to feel a certain way. So why don't you get clear on how you want to feel? And then do whatever it takes to feel that way. So I write my core desired feelings down every day in my Desire Map Day Planner. You don't need a Desire Map Day Planner. It can, you know. And I think, well, you know, today I'm just going to read that little paragraph on that thing about the beloved. Remind me, beloved. Or today I'm going to hustle because that makes me feel golden.
Right.
It's all about the sell.
Right.
And that's the rush. I mean, I love the game that I'm in. I love publishing. I love it. Yeah.
Well, you also point out that it's like, take that passion, get clear about how you want to feel, get clear about what you want, take that passion, pair it with action, sprinkle it with a little faith. That's the equation, right?
That's it.
There was something in the book that you talked about. You met a young woman at a college, and she was studying accounting, and you asked her, does that, you know, rock your boat? And she said, no, but you know, I'm going to make a lot of money, and
my
dad's paying
for
tuition.
it.
Exactly. And you ended that with, I see a Mercedes and Prozac in her future. And that really, really hit me, because how do we want to change this consciousness, and what do we want to impart on our kids? And that's a really important thing. That's part of our work, to change this, to really shift this, so that you're not like waiting half your life to sort of figure it out, like, wait a minute, I've had this all wrong, I've had this backwards.
The stories coming in with people using Desire Map for teens, I mean, they slay me. I can hardly, mean, we just got a big download of photos from somebody who did a Desire Map workshop with teenage girls last weekend, and I can hardly look at the photos. I just got chills. It's awesome.
I love it.
With my own son, so my son is 11 now, just turned 11. You know, I get reports from moms who are like, yeah, I sat down with my kid and we talked about desired feelings. I'm like, wow, I try to do that with my boy and it doesn't really work. I should try and master this. But now I just, because I like, how do you want to feel? Good, awesome. That's his vocabulary.
Right.
Or it sucks. It's basically awesome or it sucks. But
he knows how he wants to feel.
He knows how he wants to feel, awesome or sucks. Yeah. But now I ask him, it's just become part of the daily vocabulary. This happened at school. I got this on a test. I did this. I played this in guitar. And I go, how'd that feel? How'd that feel? How'd that feel? And I'm starting to hear like more of a range. Right. And even if he'll just say, it was awesome, that was good, there's stories starting to be added on to that.
Mm-hmm. Knowing how you actually want to feel is the most potent form of clarity that you can have. Generating those feelings is the most powerfully creative thing you can do with your life.
Mm-hmm. You are allowed to feel the way you want to feel. Let me back up even further and say, you're allowed to want to feel the way you want to feel. I mean, part of how this came to be was that for a year, I went on the road to do workshops with one of my first books called The Firestarter Sessions. I did 16 cities in a year. I would go wherever they would have me. I paid my own way. I did it in living rooms and boardrooms and like a pole dancing studio in Manhattan Beach. It was totally weird and awesome. And, I listened to hundreds of entrepreneurs, want-to-be entrepreneurs, active entrepreneurs, talk about their dreams. And when a woman would look to me and say, I want to do this, I want to feel this way, and she would say, is that okay? Oh my God. I mean,
I'm like, yes,
I lost
okay.
track of how many times
right.
I heard that, and I just thought, this is an epidemic.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to be at that place of, this is what I want. Should I go for it? Okay, and that's okay. That's
right.
like, that's part of that creative edge. But to cut yourself at the knees before you even get there and say, can I even want to feel the way I want to feel, fuck yes.
Yeah.
Be alive. Claim
Right.
it. You are here. Who else are you going to live for?
Right.
Them or you?
Right.
Live for you.
Yeah.
I would say we're not all seekers, and that's problematic. I think some of us aren't looking at all. We're just really comfortable.
I'm an optimist.
And that's tragic. Yeah, that's optimistic. And then some people are seekers. And also, I don't draw any conclusions for the people I judge to not be seeking.
Right.
You know what? They could have burned so much karma and done so much evolving in other lifetimes that they just get to coast this lifetime. And like, how, I do not know the makeup of someone's soul. It can look inactive to me, but whatever. And some people are just asleep, and that's it, and they want to be that way. For those of us that are seeking, seeking can be, the tools of the search can become another addiction, or the tools of the search can be another way of validating that you're not enough now, that you're broken, that you have to earn more. I remember the first time a Buddhist teacher gave me an assignment, which was go do 100,000 of this particular mantra, Prajna Paramita. And I was like, 100,000, dude, that's gonna take a long time. And I bucked against that a bit. I was like, why? Now it's one more thing I have to measure. It's like I have to put it in my day planner, and I had to count. I had to, like, in the back of my day planner, I was like, I did 800 today. And I understand I get it. I get why. I get the repetition carves and it cleanses and it burns things out of your psyche. I mean, it is a form. You train your mind just like you train muscles, how many reps you can do.
Right.
I understand that. But it's the intention behind it, the approach. Am I doing this to prove myself to my Lama, to my God, to my ancestors? Or am I doing this for the joy of, like, let's see what happens if I do 100,000 Prajna Paramitas? Does my heart explode? Do I become more psychic? It's more of a...
What happened?
It's compelling. I saw lots of lights, lots of pretty lights. That was a very useful exercise. But I had to reframe it. Reframe it out of punishment and proving into... really joyful aspiration.
Right.
Yeah, and now, sometimes I'm just like, bag that. I got other things. I want to go shopping.
Right.
Yeah. I can't sit for 8 hours.
Right.
I've never been a long meditator. I'm intense in other devotional ways, but I don't sit for 8 hours. I can't do it.
Right.
And I'm like really cool now. I'm just like, I'm not that kind of Buddhist. I'm not that kind of person. I'm great at a lot of other things.
Well, you also share in the book that you sort of went through a period where you just kind of stopped doing all these all these things and just kind of, was it like maybe like extracting something from all of them and putting it into your own version of what works?
I just got tired of proving.
Right.
And for a long time I really, I am a seeker till the day I reincarnate. I mean, yes, I'm here for the light. But, you get in that certain circle and all these things can become a badge of honor. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Baptist or you're training for the Olympics or, you're all holistic and kale.
Right.
It's why. What's the why behind it?
Exactly.
And it's very subtle and it can be very insidious and it can be very hard to find within yourself. And it makes all the difference. And I'm telling you that addictive nature to the search is exactly what is keeping you from the joy you want.
Right.
And so as my own experiment and realizing how not joyful I was in some pursuits, I was just like, bag this. Let's see what happens if I don't meditate every day.
Right.
And let's see what happens if I start eating meat again.
Right.
And I want to live. I want to smoke. I like my red wine.
Me too.
I love my cleanses.
Right.
And I meditate every day. And if I don't, I can still rock my day. And yeah.
So what is, like, let's just peel back the layers for a second.
Okay.
And really, what would your biggest advice be? Like, how would you, just for someone that's just starting today and it's like, they're kind of stuck. They're not really feeling it. They're feeling just, where do they start? What's the first question? Where do you go?
The first question is, how do you want to feel?
Right.
And what I know to be true is when I'm in my own moments of, I'm stuck, I feel like I'm missing the mark, or I'm angry, those feelings are polar opposite to my core desired feelings. So you can be stuck, be in that place,
Okay.
and just ask yourself, what's the opposite of that? Oh, well, maybe it's free, or it's energized, or it's confident, or it's connected, or it's vitality.
See, I like that. Right away, you said just find the opposite of it.
Yeah.
Instead of like flipping it on its side.
Yeah. And such a powerful statement. I don't want to feel this way.
Just declare it.
Wow. Okay. So that just like interrupted all this like monkey thinking and
Right.
going south.
Right.
How do you want to feel? Different. Some people that's you're so stuck, that's all you can do. I just want
But
to
at
feel
least that's
different.
a move
That's right.
in the
You
right
just-
direction, right?
I want to feel different than I do now.
Right.
I want to feel lighter. And then
And it starts.
and then
the
you go,
momentum.
I want to maybe all you can get your arms around is I want to feel hopeful.
Right.
I want to feel better. I want to feel mo better. Mo better works.
Mo better works.
If mo better is your that's,
Right.
Yeah, and then you have to dare yourself and you have to stretch. I mean, 5 years ago, would I have said I want the experience of beloved? Ooh, that might have felt a little too goddess, too love, too Jesus, too soulmate, too adored, too adoring. So I think, what was my word before beloved? Communion. It went from like connected to union to communion to beloved, which really encapsulates my feelings for, the cosmos. And I want everybody to feel like a beloved to me. Like I really want to hang with people that I resonate with. And if I don't resonate, I want to feel so much compassion. Like I want to find that place of connection to say, everybody is beloved. So there's some daring into it. Like, where do you feel like, like a little bit out of my reach, but it's exciting. Your core desired feelings have to feel exciting. Like just generally, like they're going to pull you forward. Not like, not safe.
Right. Right.
You know what? Like happy.
Right.
I mean, maybe if that's where if you're down
Right.
here
Right.
and like happy is a leap for you, then embrace happy.
Right.
But I think if you're like tracking on a healthy level, happy is not really going to pull you forward. Joy, electricity, badass, red, vitality, whatever it is.
Right.
Go up.
So on that, also, I love in the book, I love your lists, your prolific rants, or not, I don't want to say rants, poetic rollout. For example, your desire statement. Okay, this is...
What did I say?
Yeah, well, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I did highlight some of my favorites. What I desire, right? So I desire, this is so great. I have to tell you, I read this a couple times, and whenever I was just kind of feeling a little stuck, or it made me smile, it made me happy.
It like lubes you up,
It
right?
lubes
You're
you
like,
up.
Maybe I should want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm going to just read some of my favorites. So what I desire to support my son to be who he is. To drive alone in wide open spaces of New Mexico, to keep a temple tidy house, to make millions of dollars and give lots away, to meditate, to wear cashmere, to make things that make people want to make things of their own. Love that. Get just the right font spacing. Listen to Tibetan singing bowls on repeat for hours. Wear perfume every day. Give money, and touch the face of God. This made me cry and made me want to read it again and again. And again, like I said, inspired me to want to write my own.
Yeah.
And I want mine to be as sexy as this.
To dream, right?
Yeah,
and
to dream.
That's it. And if you're slogging long enough, you actually forget to dream. Like you're so in that like mode of endurance and achievement and the metrics and all of that, the dream muscle atrophies. And there's an exercise in think it's in Desire Map. If not, it's in the Fire Starter sessions. Called, I think I call it extreme dreaming, where it's just a contemplation where you would imagine yourself doing things that you really know you can't pull off. Like, I'm never going to be an Olympic gold medalist figure skater. But just 30 seconds of just seeing myself on the ice. I mean, something kind of loosens up, right? I'm never going to hit the high notes in Madison Square Garden, but just go there. And then the pendulum swings down to, oh, what would be really amazing possibilities for me with what I've got in my life now, and build from there. And it's like, okay, maybe I'm not going to sell out Madison Square Gardens and sing, but you know, I could do some spoken word at the corner bar, and that would be pushing my limits. And that brings up like a core desired feeling. So you see extreme to like here, and then reach from here.
Right. And you have to insert this into every day, because when you start to feel that slogging along, or you're just on autopilot, you've got to be able to sort of like push the pause button.
Yes, and what I find when I get into autopilot mode is then there's always this inevitable moment. Sometimes I can be like rocking something for a couple weeks, like when I'm in campaign mode or there's a deadline or something. And in the middle I'll go, this is not how I want to feel.
Right.
And then that usually means we have to stop. Like, I don't want to launch that, or just stop the hustle, or you know what? Let's do it in 3 months, not now, or you know what? Let's just get this out and see what happens. Right. But too much slogging, I get out of touch with my core desired feelings, and then usually it's like red alert. And then we get the team call, and they know what that means. I changed my mind.
Danger, Will Robbins.
Yeah. I thought this was going to feel good, and it doesn't.
But I also really appreciated that you shared that in the book, because you also went into this part where you said that there are times you were really close to these, like, on paper, really fabulous opportunities, and you just suddenly just took stock and said, you know what, I'm pulling the plug on this, and everybody else is going to think I'm nuts. I'm walking away from this TV show, or I'm walking away from whatever, and you did it.
Yeah, don't care. Why? Because what are my options? Go through with something that I'm already feeling miserable about before I even start. Right. Push through.
Even though you're supposed to enjoy that, right? You're supposed to. This is a great opportunity.
Yeah, it all looks good. But I'm already miserable.
Right.
Oh my God, it's not going to get better. Right. It's not going to get better if you're miserable before you start.
Right.
And so,
but that's hard to do. That's that's hard to.
Oh yeah, it's hard. Well, it isn't. It's less. The more you do it, I tell you, the easier it gets. You're like, I don't really care what you think. But yeah, sometimes extracting yourself is uncomfortable, and you've signed contracts, I try not to sign anything that I'm not totally lit up about.
Right.
But I've become more and more discerning. I say yes to way less than I used to, and I'm really clear about my criteria. Bottom line criteria is, this is going to make me feel the way I want to feel. And I really want to work with people who are open-hearted, who really think that trust is actually a form of strength, not naivete. And I want to work with people who think that everything happens for a reason. And if you have those criteria, then let's rock and roll.
Let's play.
Yeah.
Yeah. That also something else that I had in here. Something about society sort of, teaching us that, don't wear your, I can't find it now, but don't wear your emotions on your sleeve, and all of that kind of conditioning, which is sort of that our emotions and our feelings are a sign of weakness.
Yes.
And
this is especially detrimental for women.
Right.
Yeah. I think this is a form of, that is the patriarchy in some cases speaking. It is a form of repressing and depressing the divine feminine to make emotions, to label emotions as weakness. And this is a good place to say there's a difference between emotions and feelings. But I think where I would love for us to go, and I actually see us going there, is, there's that character in Star Trek, Troy, and she was the intuitive, and her opinion trumped the facts. They called her in for every major decision. And I just think, intuition is the superpower. It is a more femininely rooted capacity that everybody has.
Right.
I mean, when a man is accessing his instinct, there's that layer of instinct, there's primal, and then there's that intuition, which, is really full spectrum. So yeah, I would just love to hear more board meetings and shareholder meetings. Like, how does everyone feel about this?
Exactly.
Because someone's going to say, I got a bad feeling.
Right.
And I can't, there's no metrics
Right.
to validate this, but something's off.
Right.
Intuition is a superpower.
It is a superpower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And most of the time, people won't argue with how you feel.
Right.
So
I love how whimsical the universe is. I mean, I know I'm intuitive, and I just love when things happen. I love when I think of something 2 seconds later, the phone rings.
mm-hmm. Those are winks from the universe. No such thing as coincidence. Yeah, so did we all get a little wink today from the universe that this is the right decision?
Right.
Okay, then we're in.
So great.
And those winks often look very silly.
Right.
But it's the right song on the radio. It's a little feather at the right moment. It's
Right.
staying on this street, the same name as your childhood street. Go, thank you for letting me know I'm on track.
Right.
Yeah.
You also quote a lot of Abraham Hicks, and
Mm-hmm.
I love that. This one particular one. Whenever you start guiding yourself by caring about how you feel, you start guiding yourself back into your stream of source energy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where your balance is. That's where your joy is. That's where your good ideas come from, where all the good stuff is accessed from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the core tenet of Abraham Hicks is think thoughts that feel good.
Right.
Yes. You get to choose what you think, you get to choose what you believe, so choose the positive.
Right.
I mean, without being a pushover about it, but I mean, even you can be completely real about what's going on. This sucks. This is hard. I'm having to endure. Think thoughts that feel good. I can do this.
That's, I loved you. You were also so real in that part of the book, which I appreciated, because you said something about, this reminded me of sort of like spiritual blah, 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 and platitudes when people are always saying, just think happy thoughts. I mean, when you're in the shit, you can't necessarily think happy thoughts. You can't, when you're sick, you can't say all is well, because all isn't well.
That's right.
And you mentioned that, and just that acknowledgement that I really want this to shift. I want to feel health. I want to feel, but to say something, to have these mantras that don't really resonate with us and don't really feel authentic.
Oh yeah. Affirmations can be big pack of lies.
Right. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, the metaphor I often give is like, you can stand, so we're taught to give affirmations based on the future or what's happening, what you want to have happen has happened. So, you could be standing in the mirror, you could think you're really overweight, you'd be looking in the mirror and you would say, I love my thin body. And you know what your mind is saying to yourself? You are so full of shit. You are lying to me.
Exactly.
And that is creating this dissonance, and that's not going to let any great
right.
energy flow.
So it's like negating the whole.
Totally.
Right.
Or it's like, I got the job. Listen, you don't know you have the job yet.
Right.
Now, I can contradict myself and say there's a lot of power to living as if you got the job,
right.
but you got to work backwards from that.
Right.
So
how would you reframe that then?
You declare your
right.
desires.
Right.
I want this job more than I've wanted anything, and I intend to get this job. And I intend to be a rock star at this job. And I intend to use this job for the good of humankind.
Right.
Like, you can even, wow, you can start figuring out,
right.
And to use the weight metaphor, it's like, I'm ready to feel better. I want to be in my body. I want to feel vitalized.
I love my body.
I'm so devoted to losing what no longer belongs in my
right.
life.
Right.
And I'm going to do whatever it takes. Wow, that is that's the truth.
Right.
The truth is better.
Right.
That's the truth. And I think declarations of desires are prayers that
yes.
somebody hears.
Yes.
And so your guides, or even when you declare things publicly with friends, they're going to swoop in. They're going to say, let's go for a good meal.
Yeah.
Let's go for a walk. Yeah.
When you said, that just made me think of declarations of desire. It became just me and my desire in the universe, on common ground, not a hierarchy, not a waiting game, not a matter of good behavior or karma or a law of attraction, My desire is my prayer. My desire
I
is
gotta
my
read
prayer.
the book again. There's some good
Can I tell you
ones
something,
in
girl?
there.
This is like, I was just like, there is so much good stuff in there. That's what I love about this book. I love this book. I love it, I love it, I love it, because it's tactical. It's like, okay, here, get in, do this, but you have to do your work.
Yeah.
You gotta get in and you gotta do your work. It's not just a lot of mumbo jumbo, read this and you're gonna feel all good.
No,
But
the universe loves reciprocity. Like, you need to show up.
yeah.
Put it in. Yeah.
And also I loved when you said, you know what, don't type it, man. You got to take that pen to paper and you got to write it.
Yeah.
You got to write it.
Yeah.
You know, and really there's so much great stuff in here. Your sharing is fantastic. Literally, I would laugh out loud.
That's all I really want, is to make people laugh.
How do you want to feel?
How do you want to feel?
How do you want to feel?
Awesome. High five.
You are
Thank
awesome.
You. Thank you. Beautiful.
Oh.
Thanks.
You are so amazing.
And you smell great.